Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another segment of Dream Ignite Build. Today we have Gisèle Lavasser with us, and I'm really, really excited because we are doing social media in an unconventional way. We are opening up a conversation today that would not have otherwise happened had we not connected through a story. Like, how cool is that? So I was actually on my friend's story because she was cleaning my house. And Gisèle saw that I was there and I was talking and we were having a great time. And she reached out. And so here we are on the
Here we are.
podcast. Gisèle lives in Canada. And so we had some really great dialogue. We actually met over breakfast and we were talking about just how cool it is that you can meet someone online and then become friends and then talk about all these new opportunities that can come your way because of it. It truly is the power of social media.
Well, and I feel like it also, the cool part is with stories and things, you can kind of get an idea of who that person is, right? So like I already knew that you were doing cold baths and you were doing, like walking and just different things, right? So when you follow people, you also follow their journey, right?
Yeah.
So when you go to meet them in real life, I feel like it's cool, but kind of creepy because I'm like, oh, so how is this? How is that? And you're like, wait, how do you know all these things, right? But people do watch stories, even though when you
Yeah.
think people don't, people actually take so much in, even though they may not engage into it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really neat because when you start thinking about where people are and what they're doing and just tapping into their world, it just opens up a whole new realm of possibility and opportunity, whether it's you connect with them directly or you connect with somebody that they recommend that you connect with. I mean, it's just like that one single interaction of, hey, how are you, can lead to anything, right?
Well, and I think too, we're also very curious, right?
Mhm.
So when you see something on someone's story, you're like, oh, what is that? And you kind of go through like that doom scroll in a sense,
Yeah.
right? Where you start following more things about them. And you're like, oh, I really like this content. So I really want to start following those people, right? But I also think it goes back to that 80-20% rule, right? Where you have, 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers already.
Yeah.
So when you see somebody on your page that you respect and you follow, and they're resharing that other person's content, it gives that curiosity of, okay, who is this person and what do they do?
Absolutely. And I just love how you're bold, that you're like willing to do that you're willing despite like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I just think that that's so encouraging. And that's part of the reason I thought I could have you on today. We could start discussing like overcoming that fear because people are not all that scary, right? Like we can reach out and we can say, hey, what's going on? Like, is it possible for us to get together or meet up? And most of the time, they'll probably say yes.
I think it's just that we always think it's going to be a no, right? So we always put those fears in front of us, opposed to saying, like, what happens if they do say yes? They may not respond or they may say no, right? But the best scenario is that you build a connection and you actually go and do that, right? So I think wherever city somebody's in, if there's somebody that you're following that you're really admiring their content or what they're doing, like reach out to them, right? Send them that message and say, hey, I'm going to be in town. Are you available to connect? Can we grab a coffee and do something, right? And you learn so much more about somebody, obviously, in person than online. But I think just taking away that fear of the worst thing they're going to say is no.
Yep. And when you have that common ground with someone, like you were talking about, like the ice bath or like, some of the things that I'm also doing behind the scenes, it just makes it that much more, that much more connected because you're like, well, I already have those interests or have those likes. That's something that like really draws me in. And then again, if you know that they're into those things, then it's just like, all right, well, we have a lot that we can already talk about because I know what's going on in their world.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is when you start seeing things or you have tips and tricks that you can give people, right? I'm a big believer in everybody's winning, right? So if there's something that you see somebody else doing, or you can give them a tip for their, their Instagram or their business or whatever the case is, you're helping them win as well, right?
Yeah.
It's great to have so many people at the table. It doesn't need to just be one person. And so I think the other thing too is just really encouraging, but also supporting, and that's kind of what we talked about at breakfast, right? We talked about like, how can we support each other? Even though we might be in two different countries, in two different cities, right? You can still support a lot of people not being there exactly face to face.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you get together, you see that there is so much common ground. And then it's like, what can we do from here, right? Because like, I love so many of the things that you have going on in Canada and the ways that you bring individuals together, bring, high performing women, you have these intricate events. Talk a little bit about that, those events that you have.
So, one of my goals last year, or almost 2 years ago now, was to create a networking event. And I find that we're in the day and age where I really want to provide value to people. So if someone's giving me their time, I really want to give them back, what they're signing up for. So I've done a few things. This will be my third year for Birdies in Business, which I'm super excited about. I am not a sports person at all, but golf is the only thing I really fell in love with my whole life.
Mm.
And I don't have a lot of girlfriends that want to golf. So I was like,
Mhm.
how can I bring the power of networking? Because men have been doing business on the golf course for years, right? So
Yeah.
why not women?
Yeah.
But women are a little intimidated. They're like, well, I don't know if I really want to go. Or if you're signing up for a tournament for work, right? You're like, well, I'm not going to be good. Like, I'm really, kind of scared to try it with men
Mhm.
around. So why not create an atmosphere for it's just women? So Birdies in Business will be in its third year. It's going to be May 2nd this year.
Very
And I have
cool.
140 spots for women. We are over 50% sold out already, which is crazy to think because
Wow.
there's snow back at home.
So cool.
But what it is it's networking on the golf course, but you're eliminating that competitive aspect. So we're not
Mhm.
keeping score. It's all about having fun and meeting new people. And I find you meet the best people kind of on the golf course because you're
Mhm.
stuck with them for anywhere between 2 to 4 hours and you get to learn a lot about somebody. You do a lunch, and don't get me wrong, lunch meetings are great, but it's such an agenda meeting. It's super fast. You're on a time
Yes.
restraint. You're going to a popular place. You're running into other people. You're getting interrupted in your conversation. It's not very intricate where I find the golf course is. You're
Yeah.
learning about their family. You're learning about their business. Are they competitive? Are they laughing at their shot, right? How serious are they
Yeah.
taking the game, right? So you learn a lot more about them. So Birdies in Business is 9 holes. It is a scavenger hunt. We have fun games on the golf course. We do a lot of networking. And realistically, you make friends with people in your group, and then the goal is eventually to collaborate and do business with them. And so one of the success stories I would say is last year we had 2 women in the same group, and they ended up collaborating at the end of the year together and
Okay.
doing an event. And that's the whole point of it,
Yeah.
is just to bring people that normally aren't together to try something new. But I find that when you give them an experience, it bonds them. Right? You
Yeah.
remember that experience, you remember that feeling, you remember how much fun you were having, you remember the laughs, you take all those
Mm.
other things out of the equation, and it's not as scary
Mhm.
to network, right? Where you walk into, a business after 5 event and you're the only person and you don't know everybody, it's a little bit more like, okay, I gotta go talk to all these people, and some of these people already know each other, right? So now you're the first person going into a group
Yeah.
of people that already know people, right? Where everyone's trying it for the first time sometimes,
Mm.
right? Or you're giving people tips and tricks. So that was one of the events that I absolutely love. I did coffee meetups this past year. So
Okay.
10 women meet at a coffee shop the first Saturday or the last Saturday of the month, and they're all from different sectors. Some are
Yeah.
moms, some are students, some are business owners. And it's just collaborating and talking about their goals and what they want to do. And, some people were recommending apps and books that work for them in their business that, they were telling other people. And it's just really finding that unique aspect to bring women together. Because when you
Yeah.
bring them together, you realize there's a lot in common, right? But you're not
Yes.
necessarily going to be like, okay, well, I should sign up for this event because I don't really know if I have a business that I can
Yeah.
contribute to it, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many different things. But yeah, I just love connecting people together. And I think there's so many unique things that we can do as women to support each other.
It's such a unique concept. I absolutely love it. And what I really love as well, it's not just the concept, but also that there's no pressure. And I really I feel like everything that we do today is like
Oh my
pressure.
God.
Like everywhere you go, it's like whether it's, you're on a time constraint or you have to meet a deadline or you're just like navigating the chaos in all the different ways. And so I love that you can come to a place where you can just like literally chill and hang out and make those connections and non-competitive because we're also living in a world I feel like where everyone's competing, everyone's comparing, we're all looking at each other's successes and like, oh, I should be there, I should be doing that, or and it just really takes the edge off and allows you to be in a space also outside,
Yeah.
where you're just like, hey, like I'm just here, we're just kind of doing this thing. So I love it, and I love all the things that happen. Like, we talk about men and how so much stuff gets done on the golf course,
Yep.
right? So why not women too?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that the greatest thing about it is you can come at whatever level you're comfortable with, right? So if this is your first time
Mhm.
trying golf, great. If you're already an avid golfer, it doesn't matter your skill set because everyone's equal at the end of the day, right? And I would say
Mhm.
the part that you're winning is the connections and the relationships that you make, right?
Yes.
And how you can bring that forward in your business. And, maybe you don't need that person right away, but when, the time comes and you need a realtor or you need somebody in that industry, right? You're like, oh my God, I totally had a great time with them. They told me a little bit more about their business. It was non-pressure, right?
Yeah.
So you can remember those connections that you made. So maybe they're not instant, but
Yeah.
they're everlasting.
But yes, they're there forever. That memory is imprinted. So I know, like, for myself, that's something that I would remember probably the rest of my life. And just like being in that environment, doing something like you said that's unique, like that unique concept, because there's a lot of networking events. There's a lot of different types of events that we can go to and we can pass business and whatnot. But when you're on the golf course and you are active, but it's low pressure, then it gives you a completely different vibe.
Absolutely.
And I love that.
I also feel like networking events after the pandemic are definitely coming back, but it's
Yes,
how do
yeah.
you make them unique and different, especially if you're putting a monetary value to it. So if
Yes.
you're charging somebody $100 or $150, right, what value are you giving them back? And the only thing that I say is the biggest commodity in life is time. It's one thing we don't have enough of, right?
Yes.
So if somebody's giving me 6 hours of their day, I need to make sure that I'm giving them 6 hours of value back, right? Whether that is items and experience, whatever the case may be. And I think as we see more networking events, we're being a little bit more picky and choosy as to what
Yes.
we're attending, to what aligns to our business, but also what makes it different and what am I getting out of it, opposed to your typical after 5 business event, right? Where
Right.
it's usually the same people. How am I connecting and building new relationships, right? And I think as we see more women do events, it's more about that experience, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we talked about last
Yeah.
time as well, right? Is how are we giving people an experience that they remember that's unique for the value that they're giving me?
Yeah. So will you continue to grow it? So it's at about 140. You said there's 140 open spots. Will you allow more and more to come in, or are you going to cap it, or what did that look like for you?
So year one, we had 60. Last year, we had 104, but the golf course only allows me to have 140. So this will be a sold
Gotcha.
out event this year,
Okay.
which is really exciting. So I think the first year you do everything, everyone's a little skeptic, right? They're like, I don't know if I want to sign up. Like, I don't really know. I don't see any pictures, right? But as it grows, that fear of missing out, for instance,
Yeah.
right, kind of happens. So you were like, okay, you got to tell me next time you're doing it because I really want to go and I want to bring my friend and they don't golf and we're going to do a whole girls event, right? So it's nice to see how women are getting excited to try something new,
Yeah.
even though they may have never golfed,
Yeah.
right? And it's really what you put into it. You don't want to play all 9 holes? Don't play all 9 holes. You want to play 3 holes? You play 3 holes, right?
For sure.
And the unique element that we added last year compared to year one is every hole you collected an item from a small business
Sure.
that was women owned.
Oh, I
So
love
you
that.
kind of had a little swag bag by the end of it, right? And so
Cool.
we had a little blurb on what each business was, but it was nice to see small businesses as well support the event too, right? So it's exposure for everybody and
Yeah.
everybody is winning, everyone's posting, everyone's having a great time, right? And I think when you do something like that, you see the power of women and how we can come together and we're all winning.
It's so true. So I love that you're doing all the things. Like, not only do you have the business,
Yeah.
loan officer business,
Yeah.
but you're creating these amazing events. So you're event planning and you're meeting people on social media and you're putting yourself out there constantly. And I love that. And again, that goes back to what I started with about just like being bold in general and putting an idea out there, putting something out there to reach new people. And I think that that's really, it's commendable, and it's such a great example of what we all should be doing. I think we all need to allow ourselves to not only unleash our potential, but allow ourselves to do something that's maybe a little intimidating.
Absolutely. And I think too, as you kind of see success, right? Because any first idea I find is scary, right?
Mhm.
It sounds great in your head, but
Yeah.
executing it is completely different.
Yeah.
But as you see success and you tweak things along the way, right? You realize, like, you want to know what? This does align with other people, right? People are really enjoying it, right?
Yeah.
And it gives you that power and it makes all that hard work that people don't see behind the scenes, you know what I mean, worth it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, right? It's one thing to go to an event. It's another
Yeah.
thing to plan an event.
Yes, for sure. I totally understand. So what is one thing that you'd like to leave the audience with today? Like maybe a word of encouragement or something that you live by, something that you stand by, or maybe just even like, this year, 2026, is there like a theme or something that you want to encourage everybody to fully like step into or anything like that?
I would say, don't be scared. Don't be scared of trying something new. Don't be scared of the word no.
Mhm.
Right now it's already a no before you even ask, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know, and ask questions and put yourself out there. And I know it's not easy. So maybe it's finding a buddy system, or maybe it's going to a new event or trying something new this year, right? But definitely putting yourself out there, I would say is the biggest thing, because at the end of the day, you really don't know the connections or how things foster
Yeah.
and how that relationship will build in the future.
Absolutely. And I love all of that. And I just love you. I love your energy. And I'm so grateful that you said yes to coming on
Yes.
the podcast today and that we were able to meet and have breakfast and just learn about each other. And, if nothing else happens, it's like we have this connection with each other and I get to continue following you in your amazing journey and all the things that you're going to continue to do. And just be inspired by you because you are just like such a mover and shaker. So I
Aw,
know that
thank you
there's like a
so
lot to
much.
come.
Thank you so much. And I think that's the beauty of social media too, right? Is you don't need to be in contact with somebody every single day. You can
Yeah.
still be a cheerleader from afar.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be something that, more people should support, right? Engage in someone else's content. You don't need to call them every single day, right? But still maintaining those relationships and those check-ins a few times a year, and just saying, hey, I love what you're doing. Right. And if
Yeah.
there's somebody that you really admire on social media, tell them that you do. Right. I think we're
Yeah.
always so scared to give encouragement to other people. And one of the things that a lot of my followers know is I'm very into the video messages. And I've sent you a few of them
Yeah.
where, you know what I mean? Pick up your phone on Instagram and go to the video in the chat and send somebody a personalized message. It
I
means
loved that.
so much. And I've done it in like Lululemons, in my bed, in my pajamas, like after the gym, wherever you are. But it's very authentic and people remember that a lot more than they
Yeah.
remember sometimes the message, right?
Yes.
And, that's the first start of a relationship.
For sure. And it even goes so much further than just a voice note. Like actually seeing you like on video, whether you're in your PJs or you're, dressed up ready for work. Either way, that authenticity is so powerful. And so I'm like, I'm gonna have to start doing that more often too.
But you remember, and it goes back to my thing is it goes back to how you feel, right? And that experience. And you're like, wow, that person's really busy, but they actually took like 5 minutes to send me a message about my business or what they saw, or they watched my whole story and they're like, you want to know what? I just want to let you know you're doing a great job today, and
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing.
And I think the fact that you are willing to do it in your PJs is really cool too, because not everybody's willing to show themselves from an authentic standpoint. Like I will do it when I'm like walking or like I don't have any makeup on, but like what's going on? Here's a few tips or whatever. But I think people resonate with that. I think they really love seeing you from all different angles because it's true, it's genuine. It's like this is real life. Like this is how we're showing up. And so you can connect with people on such a deeper level.
But I feel like most people's Instagram is very polished, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at mine,
Yeah.
you'll see the videos are very polished and you're dressed up, right? But people also want to know, like, when they're looking at you, like, oh my God, I can never be this girl, right? She's always dressed
Mhm.
up, or she's always with
Yeah.
her makeup done, or this or that. No. Let me tell you, we do wear the sweatpants, we do the no makeup, we do like 2 days for hair washing, right? We do all those things, and that's really what becomes the relatability, right?
Yeah.
And that's why people love to follow you, because they want to see you. I don't know. I know they can dress up, but I also know that they can dress down and be normal. And that's where you're building that relationship, because they're like, oh my God, that's me. I do that in the morning too, right?
Yeah.
In that relatability aspect. And I think, if you can find a way to connect with somebody very authentically, that's how you build your community.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on today. I have appreciated this conversation more than you know. And I know that everybody that's listening in today got some really amazing content and just feedback, tips, tricks, ideas, and just the encouragement to go out and do something that's scary, go out and take a risk, do something that you've never done before. Reach out to someone that you never have that has shared interests as you, whether they're in another state or another country. Just be bold. Take some bold moves and make it happen. So thank you again for tuning in to Dream Ignite Build today. We want to encourage you to get out, make bold moves, and just truly make it happen. Take risks and reach out to someone that you've never met before. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to follow Gisèle below, we have all of her information available, and make it an amazing day.